Um, and then in addition to that, there's a forum that's going to be available on the platform, and you can each use that for your universities to share information, encourage them to come visit your booth. That's going to be available to you throughout the conference. So we've really taken measures to think about different things we can do to enhance your experience. We've also added a second session on Friday, which is for prior conference attendees. With the climate that we're in right now, we know so many people are looking at changing careers and just doing more meaningful things with their lives. So we thought this group might be a little closer to applying to programs now than they might have been a few years ago. So we're going to also be sharing that list with you, but know that you'll have that added audience to talk to about your programs. And then lastly, on November 16th, there will be a rehearsal on the platform itself. So you'll be able to see, see better what it's actually going to look like come then. But we wanted to have this session today to answer any questions you might have prior to our October 29th deadline, where we really want to get the boots up and running. So thanks again. And I'm going to turn this over to Brandy and Liani, who are with our incredible meeting team. And they're going to take you through just some of the things that you could expect, and then we'll answer your questions.
Thank you, Marie. Can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandy Stevenson. I am a manager with KPMG Events and Meetings, and I will let my colleague Liani introduce herself.
Hello, I am a senior associate in events and meetings with KPMG and super excited to work with all of you on this conference.
Okay, so what we wanted to do just briefly is kind of walk you through your specific registration path. So I'm going to give Liani a second to share her screen. Okay, thank you. So everyone should have received this communication. If you haven't, please let Marie or a member of the PhD project team know so we can get that invitation sent over to you. So once you do receive this communication, you'll simply click the register tab that is seen on your screen. And that will take you to our registration site. Within the site, you'll see an introduction message in terms of kind of important dates that you should be aware of. One date that I definitely want to draw your attention to is Friday, October 29th, which is essentially this Friday. As you can very well imagine, there's a lot of content that we have to gather to send to our team and producers who are building out the actual site. So in terms of your program descriptions, your institution logos, university rep information, all of that information. I know, it's essentially this week, but we really need to have that information sooner rather than later, just because obviously with the number of schools that we are managing, we want to make sure that the site is built and up to par before the release date. So you will find a link to the agenda. We don't have to go through that, but I'm just pointing out a few kind of highlights. You'll find a link to the agenda, the overall dates, which are Wednesday, November 17th to Friday, November 19th. The university fair will be, the first time slot will be on November 18th from 3 to 6. And then we have another slot on Friday from 2 to 3:30. So if Liani would go to the Register Now tab. And you'll see just some fields that you have to input: first name, last name, email address. And then here's where you put kind of the detailed information about your particular institution. So that would be your school name. We do ask that you put the name of the school that you would like, as you would like to have it displayed, because when we pull reports, that is how it will be displayed on the actual site. And then of course, your corresponding contact information. And then you'll see a kind of a approval notification that we do need you to take note of and acknowledge, as well as uploading your institution's logo and then the program description. If you have any questions or come up with any hiccups when you get to this portion, I will send the link to my colleague, Carrie Donahue, who is managing the content for our university fair, and she can handle those on a case-by-case basis. But we do hope that the site is kind of intuitive and you're able to navigate the various fields and upload all the information. After uploading that, then you'll put in your information as well as all of your fellow colleagues that will be participating or presenting at your virtual booth. And you can put in up to 4. Okay. And then, as Marie mentioned, we're going to have both the University Fair time blocks and then the rehearsal on November 16th. So we did kind of highlight those times just to make you aware of them, and also ask you to acknowledge that you received the note about the rehearsal on November 16th. It will be in the morning. If that is a problem for anyone, as I said, please let Carrie know, and we will do our best to navigate those requests. And then you will follow the rest of the prompts, and you will receive a confirmation message.
Randy, we have one question that I just figured we can address now while we're on it. Well, 2 actually. So Lauren is asking about the description and the link. Should it be to the university or where the PhD project program lives? And I would suggest you to put the link directly to your PhD program if you have that set up. And then another question, Mariah asked about within the program description. I mean, I think, it would be best to give some flavor of something about the university as a whole, as far as the environment, if you have, or and then maybe even detail the programs that you offer. We are sending the attendees, as you know, we sent you this to confirm. We do send out a listing of which programs you offer, but I think it wouldn't hurt to reiterate that in the program description. And I guess I should ask, Brandy, is there a limit in the program description as to how long that could be? That's probably a good question.
Yes, and I will, I was actually going to kind of transfer this over to Jenna, but I'll introduce Jenna as my colleague and also on our Encore team, who's actually leading the team that's building out the platform. So Jenna will, give us a kind of a demo of WonderMe, but can also speak to kind of the character limit on those descriptions. So Jenna, if you can hear me, we will pass it over to you.
Sure, no problem. First off, for the descriptions, there isn't a character limit. You can also include hyperlinks in that as well if needed. That's mostly for, say, like your website information or any contact information you want to include on there. I just don't recommend putting a ton of information on there. But if you want to give like a really nice in-depth paragraph that talks about the program, I think that's an excellent idea. If it was a ton of information, eventually people are going to have to scroll on the page. They might not see the additional information. So that's just a recommendation. And with that, should we just go ahead and roll into what the University Fair experience would be like?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Jenna, there's just one question about a PDF. Are they able to upload a PDF, or does it need to be Word document in that section?
Marie, I was just putting my email in there. If everyone could send me and then also Carrie, and then we'll do the formatting on our end. But we would prefer Word documents if you do have them.
Perfect. Okay. So first off, so we are using the Chime platform as the virtual event platform that will take us to the links for the University Fair. So right now, I'm just going to share with you what it looks like when the page is a part of the experience. We're actually going to have a networking lounge like this. So if you plan on going to any of the networking pieces of the conference, it would be embedded into the page like this. When it is going from the university fair, it will be a link that they click to that opens it in another tab. So we'll take up the full page. That is the only difference between what I'm showing you right now and what it will actually be in that time. So as you can see here, we have a preliminary graphic that's probably going to have a little bit of tweaking here. We have different spaces where we can put either the name of your program or a logo. Once this document is more, or once this image is more finalized, we can give you the actual specs. So you can figure out how to fit within those areas. I also have a one-page document that gives you a little bit about how to get into this networking feature and how to use it. You can use that on multiple different devices, but say I wanted to go to number 2, was one of the universities I wanted to go to. If you're on a desktop, which is what most people will likely be on, you just hold down your cursor to where you want to go and it'll bring you there. Once there's somebody else there, so if I go to number 12 where Leonie is, it will take me, hang on, doing some technical things first, here. And once we are in the same area, it'll bring us together in a circle. So that way, if Leonie's video was on, which it is now, we'd be able to talk. There are some minor options for screen sharing, although I don't recommend it for anything that has a lot of documentation. It's going to be kind of small, but we can have up to 15 people in the same circle at once. And it doesn't just stop at video chat. You can also send people either in the circle, privately, or to everyone within the university fair, a message to just say, well, whatever you would like to say. There's also an option where you can see who is near you and who all of the individuals who are on here. Since we don't have a lot of people, I only have Leonie at the moment. And then there's also the ability to, broadcast, but I'm not going to go too much into that unless the team sees a reason that you would want to broadcast to the entire space. But this way we have designated areas that people can go to, so that way they can access your space, start conversations. If for some reason a circle gets kind of big to one side, you can still access that person to the side. There's no limitation on how many circles or private or semi-private conversations that we can have. We also have an option we've talked about when you first get on here, it will ask you to take a picture for your little avatar. In this particular case, if I wanted to have my school logo on it, it would be something that I can go in and change. So you can change your name and picture if that's not the one that you wanted, and you can upload an avatar so that you can pick a picture of your choice. So it doesn't have to be the one that you chose in that particular situation. It looks like we have some things going on in the chat.
Jenna, I think it would be helpful. I know we're placing it in the chat. If you can just speak to the formats of the logos that people should be sending.
For the background or for use as an avatar?
When we have like their actual university fair tab, where we're uploading like their content.
Oh, I see. That should be 500 by 500. So it would actually be a square. And it would likely also work very well for within the university fair, if you wanted to use the same one for your avatar.
Sorry, did you say no screen sharing for the session, the exhibitor sections?
There is the ability for screen sharing. Oh, okay, let's see. There is ability for screen sharing. For some reason, it's saying screen off at the moment.
never specifically allowed it or disallowed it before, so it should be an option. Let me try. That is very odd. I'm gonna have to check into that.
Wondering, since we're new to this, during this session, when a university is presenting themselves and their program, are we showing, I guess I just don't have an idea of how it proceeds. Do we show them like a few slides and talk about our program? What do we actually, what's transpiring in these sessions?
I think that's honestly up to you. But one of the reasons we decided to go with this program or this platform for the university fair this year, so that you have a better opportunity for a face-to-face conversation with the students or potential students, that allows you to make a more personal connection and also potentially get their information for follow-up for later. I know last year we didn't have as much mingling or moving into different universities, and this really provides a platform where you can see that somebody is available over at, I don't want to choose a university and show favoritism to anybody, but so if I wanted to check out a state university here, or if I wanted to go over to a different program, it gives them more of a sense of spontaneity that encourages them to go check it out, and make sure that they go to everyone they're interested in, as opposed to just stopping in one place.
Lauren, I think too, I mean, I keep visualizing the in-person events when I'm looking at this and looking at the similarities. It really depends on how many people you have at your booth. If if you have 3 or 4 people, or maybe even more at one given time, you might want to do it, take more of an approach where you're doing a little bit of a presentation, because this way you can share the information once to a few people. But there also might be a span of time where you'll get one person and then another person. So, I think you kind of have to really be prepared for either way, but then base it on the number of people you have at any given time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I just wanted to make sure we had the option to show something if I wasn't clear.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
If you have the option to show something, I'll figure out why it's not showing up here. And obviously it's something we'll make sure is ready to go for when the site and the room is actually created. One thing I would encourage is to treat it more like an elevator pitch and answer any questions. And it could be a great opportunity if we're not doing a ton of screen sharing, to just encourage them to give their information so that you can reach out with additional resources afterwards.
Hi, Marie. Hi, Jenna, Brandy, Liana. This is Karen Kiley at UTSA. So last year, we had, obviously it was a different platform. So this year, and we had like the Zoom meeting link, right, that we provided, and we did our breakout rooms. So this is going to supersede all of that, right? Where we'll just have our UTSA logo in, say, number 13, and then whatever, any prospective student can just come on into that, whatever university. But what about the different faculty that I'm going to provide you with? Will we just be given a link, I guess, to access this? Is that how that's going to be? Or I guess I'm getting confused with last year a little bit.
That's understandable. Jenna or Brandy, can you just explain what they'll receive? I guess that might be the most helpful thing as far as what they need to log into.
So I guess I don't
Sure.
need to do a Zoom meeting link and send that to you. Like,
No.
Okay. Yes, if you could explain, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sure, Jen, I'll just take a first stab and then you can continue where I leave off. So once you register, at the appropriate time, everyone will receive a formal confirmation email, which will have your login and password into the actual platform site. When you log into the site, and it will look very similar to what was built last year, to your point, Karan, and you'll see on that left side, it'll have a tab that says University Fair. So when you go into that tab, you'll find, obviously, the school, your institution. When you click on that link, it'll take you to this page that you're seeing right now, and you'll look for your school's logo, and you and your colleagues, along with, prospective students, will meet within those virtual rooms. So to your point, you do not have to send us a Zoom link. This replaces that, but the actual platform where the conference is being hosted will look very similar to last year. If that helps.
Great, that does. Sorry, yeah, I was still stuck on last year. It's been a while. It's been a crazy day for me. And there's no limit to, like, if we have some of our current ABD students, there's no limit to the names and emails that I provide to have access from UTSA to get into that, right? Like, we want to have a couple of prospectives, a couple of our current or well-seasoned ABD students work the rooms with us, as well as
the
our
limit
advisors.
Right. So the limit in terms of registration is 4. If you need more than that, then we suggest reaching out to Christine or Marie to get approval for, for more registrants. But right now the limit is 4 because each room has a limit of 15.
I see. Okay, so we could just set up a rotating schedule perhaps to accommodate that, so we can allow perspective. Okay, that's cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can I just
clarify? Sorry, Brandy, one follow-up on that. Sorry, Marie. So if we limit ours, can we do, like, kind of provide a bunch of names that could be loaded in there? Well, like, we have 6 PhD advisors, and we probably are going to have maybe 4 ABD students that assist us, and we would have them on a rotational. Can we just have it set up so that you can allow for that, or Marie can allow for that, and then we'll just limit our bodies in there,
Right, at any given time.
Yeah, so we'll say whoever you have log in for that user to access the room, they can change their name and picture every time they go in there. So if you're rotating through users to access the platform, you'll be able to switch this out at any given time. It'll just save the last name and picture, and you can edit it as needed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But we can have multiple representatives in a segment, or whatever you call this thing.
Yes, yeah. What we were suggesting is to limit it to 4 at any given time, because the space itself is limited. You could only have 15 people. So if you have much more than that, it would give you, it would limit the access of the attendees. But I think what Janet was suggesting is you can actually share the logins and then just update it with whoever's given that time slot if you want to rotate.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not sure. Do we want to go back to, is there anything else we wanted to walk through, Jenna or Brandy or Leanne? Everything
We're
we
here to
showed?
answer. Yeah, we're here to, answer any other questions, but I just definitely wanted to reiterate the importance of our kind of content deadline, which is this Friday. The sooner we get all of that information from you, the more, the better the usability, sorry, I can't talk today, will be on your end.
There is a question here. I don't think this was answered. Will the schools be in alpha order for who is in box 1 versus box 30?
Yes, we're going to have all the booth numbers will be in alpha order.
Yeah, Christina actually put a note in here that there'll be 3 or 4 floors of 30 schools each. So you'll be able to locate your booth by number once they're all set up. But the plan is to do them to sort them alphabetically.
We'll try to publish a list as well that has the booth number for each
Mhm.
Sorry. We'll try to publish a list as well that has the booth number that corresponds to each university so that there's no confusion, particularly when it comes to, universities start with University of or the, so that we'll have that available.
Thank
And
you,
that-
Leonie. And that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was going to say that just goes to when you're registering. Please be sure to, when you enter your school or university, you enter it exactly how you want it to be displayed on the site.
And I would probably suggest that you use the university name and not the college name or the, because I don't know that all participants will necessarily know the college name, but they will know the university.
It's a good point, Tara.
Yeah, I also, and you may have mentioned this also, Brandy, but I did want to let all the university representatives know that, the Wonder Me will be open throughout the conference. So although we have specific university hours, if you happen to connect with someone and you don't have, ample time to answer their questions, you could always, ask them to meet you in the back at your booth later on, whether, it's later on that evening or earlier in the morning before sessions start. We don't want to take them away from sessions, but there will be that opportunity. We've also built in networking opportunities during the evening after sessions. So we'll have them broken out by discipline. We'll also probably have like a general networking room. So if you wanted to pop in some of those later on in the evening after the sessions, you'll have that opportunity as well to network with people, just to have, general discussions, hopefully like you would do at the tables if we were at the reception, but this will be a virtual opportunity. So we definitely encourage you to use those additional opportunities to meet up with the attendees.
Thanks, Tara. I also wanted to point out another kind of feature of the Chime platform. You'll see once you log in, there is a forum feature, and the forum lets you post messages during the actual conference. So during the university fair, if you find that you don't have any students at a particular time and you kind of want to drive traffic to your virtual booth, you can post a message within the forum that goes out to all participants. So definitely suggest that everyone uses that as much as possible. We, from a planning team side, will also be using it as well to kind of drive traffic to the university fairs.
There's a question about adding reps after they initially register, or do they need to do that all at once? So, once you register, you will receive a confirmation and you can modify, but we are asking that you have all the information in by the 29th if possible, because we do need to upload that all to the Chime site.
I see there are two more questions that came in. So Lauren's asking what days and times are the networking sessions? And just to clarify, Lauren, I don't think you don't mean the university fair sessions. You're talking about networking outside of.
Yeah, somebody mentioned evening sessions, so I was just curious.
I don't know. Do we have a set schedule for that we could share with everyone?
Yes, the networking sessions are all included in the agenda. We are opening the platform 30 minutes before the start of the day. So that's one opportunity. And also at the end of the day, there are opportunities listed on the agenda.
I know, Myrna, the start of each day, the networking is from 11 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, because the day starts at 11:30, the agenda. And I don't know, I'm sorry, Myrna, do you know what time the last session begins on the day, at the end of the day? Is it the same each day?
Typically, I'm just taking a quick look. because we do have a session on one evening. There's one from 6:20 to, we say 8 p.m., but it can stay open on Thursday. Thursday morning between 11 and 11:30. And Friday morning also, 11 to 11:30. And as Sarah mentioned, because the Wonder Me is open throughout the day, if you do meet a prospective doctoral student that you want to have further interactions with, you can feel free to use the Wonder Me networking session.
And Patricia's asking about the university profiles. Will they list what region of the country the schools are in? I do not believe we have that planned. So that might be something you want to add to your description. That's actually a great idea. Not everyone might know off the top of their head where you're located.
Yeah, that's a great point, Marie. We can definitely, whatever, obviously information that you include in your program description will go on your actual profile, but where you're exactly located in the country is a great addition to add to that description.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be virtual again next year, but that's a good suggestion for next year. And yes, we'll share the recording of today's session with everyone afterwards so that you can share it with others on your team. And I think, I hope we answered everyone's questions.
May I ask just a quick question that's not about this actual part of the thing? You had mentioned, I think, an email to me about access to the participant database. Can you talk a little bit about that and like how?
Absolutely.
How would we use that? When do we use that? Thank you.
Sure. So in the registration, the invitation that you received, there are details on, there's the link and password and login for our application database. And you can go in there and you can sort by, year, go back further beyond this year into past years and share information about your programs. We would encourage you to do that actually, because as I mentioned earlier, very often when someone comes to the conference, they're not ready to apply right then and there, and the deadlines are rather tight. So it is a good idea from time to time, just under any circumstances, to go back into the application database and send some messaging out. You can sort by their area of interest as far as discipline. Each of the applications has information on their work history, educational history, GMAT scores, if they've provided them. So it's almost like a little mini application or resume that you can sort through and pull candidates from. What we encourage everyone every year to the universities to reach out to this year's attendees before the event and share some information so that you're already going to be on their list to visit when they come to the university fair and when they're at the conference. And then of course, after the conference, you're welcome to, and it's a great idea to follow up afterwards, because once they get home and digest all the information, they might be thinking, they might have different questions, or even have different ideas about where their where their research fits and what kind of school is the right one for them. So we would encourage you, you can use you can use the application database now. It's not loaded right now with all of the invitees for this year, but you can use that for past attendees now and afterwards. And then when the time of the conference gets closer, we typically send lists of the current year attendees to you all. And we'll also be sending information on the past attendees that we've invited to that Friday session. So you'll have those handy as well. But you can go in there now and go back to those years if you'd like. I hope that answers your question. I'm not the greatest authority on that, so Christina might have to chime in if you want anything more. Okay, good. Great. So does everyone feel comfortable? You're ready? Are you all ready to register? That's all we need to worry about this week. Let's just get through this week. Great. Well, we hope that this is helpful. We just thought rather than, having a million emails back and forth, it might be better to address questions all at once. But by all means, I mean, you've gotten a couple of emails in the chat there. Please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any specific questions once you get in there, and if something comes up that you didn't think about today. Please get everything in by October 29th. If you have any, if anything comes up afterwards and you have a question, you can call us and we'll, we'll talk through whatever questions you might have, but just try to get all the basic information in there by then. And as we've mentioned, we'll have a rehearsal on November 16th, which will allow you to kind of then go in and play around with the platform itself a little bit more. But hopefully you saw from the layout what the general look and feel of what it's going to be like. I know it's challenging. Every conference and every event looks a little bit different. So we appreciate your support, your flexibility, and we're really excited for the conference. And we hope you'll see great candidates, and people will be even more engaged than they were last year. So I guess if we're done, I'll give everyone back a little bit of time. You get 20 minutes back. Thank you all, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month, a few weeks. Have a great night.